So this week in Mel's Mech Shop, Mel gets challenged to a build-off.
Warbosses of the Aporkalypse! Ladies and gentlemen, the Warbosses of the Aporkalypse.
So it looks like there's some kind of warped initiation ceremony into the upper echelons of Orky society. Mel and Sydney, the Drunken Ork, my fellow odd boy, have been challenged to convert a Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy into something, well, anything really, that's not a Squigbuggy. That's the only rule. In an attempt to debunk the myth that the buggy kits are no good for us orcs that love converting and Mekkin stuff. So let's crack on and see what we can get done, shall we? So, for the challenge, we've got to convert up our Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy. So I've got mine from Dark Sphere. Great. 2 days it was on the doorstep, so let's crack open. Make sure they sent me the right truck first. Yes, and there we have it. The Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy. Soon to be Goth Truck. Right, let's crack this open and see what we got. Now, I've never actually seen one of these in the flesh, so it'll be interesting. There we go. That's what we got. Looking pretty cool. It does look pretty cool. Right, instructions. Get rid of them. Big ass face. And just Squigbuggy. Right. Well, straight away I can see the 4 wheels are all independent. So that's a good start. Got a chassis. Okay, right. Lovely. I think we can do something with this. Back soon. So I've scratch built this truck for my goth list. And this is a beauty. And then I've got this one, which was an eBay rescue. Which just don't cut the mustard now when you put it next to the rest of my faults. It just, I don't know, just missing something. Just looks a bit too standard. So we're going to go from eBay beta to buggy bash. Let's see if we can do something cool with this old truck. First up, some nice gentle Orky mechanics, and we'll remove that lovely motor from the front of the old truck. Now we just got to work out how to jam this motor on the front of the other one, because everyone knows double the motors, double the horsepower. I ended up pinning the truck motor to the Squigbuggy with a plastic rod that I drilled into the chassis of the Squigbuggy and the back of the truck engine, giving it support all the way through. With the motor fixed into position, it was a quick test fit of the truck's flatbed on the back of the Squigbuggy. It turned out I was going to need to raise it up by about ½ a centimetre. I then set about removing the driver and the gunner from the truck's flatbed. I added 2 pieces of square plastic rod, one just behind the Squigbuggy cab and one at the back. As I was making this buggy into a truck for my goth boys, I was going to need a big shooter gunner. And it seemed a shame not to use the already mech driver from the truck kit, so I mounted the whole gunner turret on top of one of the boarding ramps, then on top of the Squigbuggy, to give him a nice elevated position and a good field of fire. Then it was time to fill in the gap from the Squigbuggy's missing grille, so I used some 1.5mm plastic card and covered it in some cross-stitched plastic, or granny grating for any Americans out there. Also blue tacked some exhausts onto the side of the Squigbuggy bonnet, just to get an idea of the positioning for later on. Then tidied up all the edges around the granny grated new grille with some bits of sprue and some plastic rod. Also hacked up the rear mudguards from the Squigbuggy kit and used them over the front wheels. With the engine in place and the grille sorted, it was then time to start armour panelling up some of the sides. So I stuck some armour panels on the side of the truck and a few bits on the side of the gunner emplacement, which I fixed into place using super glue and the bicarb method. Also makes it look like a rusty old weld. Great little effect. The driver is a pretty tight fitting of the cab, being a rather well fed Ork. Normally he's surrounded by squigs, or as we like to call it, Orky lunch. So I decided to get him painted in sub-assembly before gluing him into the cab. I used a head from the new Commandos kit, I think that's where it came from, to give him that travelling across the dusty Badlands look. And the arm from, to be honest, I can't even bloody remember, but it looks pretty badass. With the driver all sorted, I then painted up the dash, which I mounted on a cocktail stick to help paint priming and painting, just held in place with a tiny dot of super glue. Then just added a little searchlight to the top of the cab. There it was time to prime. I primed with Vallejo matte black surface primer, which I put on with a brush, so as not to go over some of the already nicely painted bits of the donor truck that I'd already painted. You got to mech smart, not hard. No point doing stuff twice. Added a bit of modelling barbed wire wrapped around the cab frame and searchlight to hold it in place, then cracked on with the painting. First up, a standard heavy dry brush with lead belcher. And typhus corrosion straight onto the primer on the tyres. Gives a really nice effect, I think. A few panels picked out an Evil Sun Scarlet, a few more in Avalanche Sunset and some checkers, and boom, we're ready to roll. Well, that's it, challenge done. Squigbuggy to truck. All in, I think this build took around 4 days, from cracking open the box to painting. In my opinion, I think I can safely say this buggy kit was a pretty good donor model for kit bashing. Loads of parts and bits. What's your opinion? Let us know in the comments down below. A massive thanks to all the Warbosses of the Aporkalypse, 6+ Stevo, Dread, Scar and Dim, for inviting myself and Sid, the Drunken Ork, my fellow odd boy, to join the bosses and setting up this awesome challenge. I for one can't wait for more build-offs, collaborations and battles in the future. So make sure you go check out how all the other bosses got on with their builds. Links to all the other videos in the description below. Well, possibly, maybe. Who's actually editing this one? Oh, I've no idea. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video and build. If you did, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more Orky builds. Stay safe everyone, and catch you on the next one.